Apologies to the fans at home. It sounds like we were having a little audio trouble there, but here we are now. So let's get you recapped. Let's bring you up to speed. In the first 9 minutes of the game, Army has put 2 on the board. This is the kick from Eisenhart, who finds the target and brings us up to 12. So apologies, we'll get that recap going. And so, first try on the board was within the first few minutes. That got us to 5. Then we saw Gabby Winker just put one down, get us to 10, and Eisenhart got the extras, bringing us to 12. We are now in about the 10th minute. Davenport will have the ball in hand, and the ball is up. It's fielded backward by Alice. Alice gets to work, looks for some room. She's got some space. Once again, the open field tackle is a high-quality tackle. Now Kate Winker. Big seal out. Now DeLeon brings it out to Gabby Winker, who looks for McCune, who finds Alyssa Davis. Alyssa Davis had the first try of the game to put Army on the board. Now DeLeon brings it out to Stockbauer. Now the ball out to Eisenhart, looking to find some width. Winker out to Morales. Little bit of traffic there, but Morales looking. Swings it out into the width for Steen. Not able to handle, but keeps the ball alive. Really athletic play there by Emily Steen. And now we see Ringdahl with the ball in hand, doing some cleanup work. Army brings it back. Driving in again. Looking to recycle is DeLeon, who brings it out. Eisenhart out into the space, finds Kate Winker to Gabby, to now McCune, who finds Davis with some space on the outside. Once again, a really nice open field tackle by Davenport. They're making a habit of this. They're doing a really good job defensively. DeLeon drives on, tries to regather, but referee says there was an infraction on the play. Could be a not rolling. It looked to me like maybe the winger from Davenport got cut on the wrong side of the ball. Looks to me like referee Tyler Ciccarella is asking which of the 2 penalties. We had an advantage going. They'll take the one here, and he calls diving over. Eisenhart looks to put the short kick into the corner, does so, and now we'll see if Army can get that maul going again. Again, apologies to those at home who've been watching the stream. We did not have the audio on. Tonight is senior night, and seniors here at West Point are called firsties, so it's a night to celebrate the seniors. And as you saw when we flashed the lineups on the screen, many of the firsties are on the field. Now the ball in from Alice to Carney. Maul is formed, and referee says we're on. Now it starts to roll to the left. Davenport looks to be up to the task. They've got the bodies and the momentum. Alice breaks it off, and now the black jerseys are over it. That looks to be Ringdahl with ball in hand. Did not catch the jersey, but got a few. Could have been Carney. Now they're looking to pound that ball in. They're a meter out. DeLeon brings it. Eisenhart looks to swing it across. Finds Morales, who looks to step. He's going to pin it in the corner. Davis to Steen, who drops it down and puts 5 more on the board for the Black Knights. Real good ball transfer work. Brings it out into the corner quickly. Finds the overlap, and Emily Steen drops one down for 5. Score now 17 with 13 minutes gone, and Eisenhart will line up from a very far distance out by the 5-meter line near the corner. This will take a real good strike to find the posts, but certainly not outside entirely of her range. We'll see. Kick is up. It's just in front of the post, so a great strike, but not able to add the extras. And Army will get back to work on the restart. So as Davenport makes their way to get ready for the restart, we see Marissa Wolbrink run onto the field. Mentioned it before, but it's worth mentioning again since you couldn't hear me. Marissa, one of the firsties who we certainly wish was out there on the field, coming back from an injury and has not quite been cleared. So hearts are with you, Marissa. And now the action starts up again. It's Carney with the ball. Again, Davenport on a nice one-on-one tackle. Now DeLeon to Carreno. Carreno looks for Stockbauer. Gains a few. Good quality work to seal it. DeLeon back. This is Eisenhart. Eisenhart finds Winker. Johnson over it. Now the ball out again. Quick recycle. Eisenhart decides to put one over the top. It takes a tough bounce off the foot. Now it's hacked through. And now Davenport under some pressure. It's a good chase by Johnson, who's able to get there and make the tackle. And Eisenhart gets some territory gain, forces Davenport to put the ball in their foot. Finds the turf, but Steen there to clean it up. Now, a little one-on-one, and that looks like Ringdahl out into the width. Does a good job to work on the ground. And referee says not, but that time it was lost after the contact. So knocked on the ground, and that's going to be a scrum to Davenport. So far, some of the things that we've seen, Davenport doing a real good job in the open field on the tackles. They are clearly a well-drilled team in the one-on-one tackle and really getting their hands on the ball every chance they can, doing everything they can to strip that ball out, which of course makes things tough and slows the game down a bit for the opponent. Exactly what we would expect from a Greg Tellickson team. So Greg has done a great job over the years. This team is well known for many championships at many levels, and so we certainly expect them to fight all night. Army, on the other hand, here's the scrum. It does find its way out. Army, on the other hand, has really prided itself on defensive pressure. That one looks to be a knock-on, but we're going to play the advantage. It's thrown forward, and so the advantage will come to an end, and now Army will get the scrum. And so the scrum forms. That's Chloe DeLeon with the ball in hand. And referee says we're going to reset it and just get a couple of things worked out. Some kinks in those front row binds, as is sometimes the case. 17 on the clock. And now the scrum gets back to work. DeLeon puts it in. Big drive by Davenport. Ball is out the back. DeLeon able to handle it to Morales to find Winker. Gains a few. Now the ball out. A little bit of traffic, a little late pass there by DeLeon. And now Emily Steen around the back finds Alyssa Davis. Alyssa Davis with 3 tacklers on. Another nice open field tackle by the winger. Now DeLeon looks for a seam. That looked to be an odd tackle. Looks like she's able to regather, maybe not held. And now we'll look to find the ground and get it rucked over. So here's the punch by Alice. Alice looks to swing it back. Nobody there yet. And now Army gets back to work. Another hard drive forward, gets to about 6 meters out. Army still churning forward. Stockbauer gets it within 2. Real close to the line. Referee looking. Says ball's available. DeLeon looks for Eisenhart. Eisenhart to Morales, who gets the shoulders down and is able to complete the task. That is something that undoubtedly is difficult if you are the opponent. Yesenia Morales runs real hard and real firm and shows exactly how that results with 5 on the board. That makes it 22 with 18:40. And so Eisenhart will line up for the kick. Kick is up. And it is good. That'll bring the score to 24 with about 19-20 gone. Davenport lines up for the restart. It's fielded, but takes a little bounce off Ringdahl, and so that's going to be a knock-on. So we'll see the scrum, and this will be Davenport's put in about 30 meters out, which really so far has been about their best attacking position. Scrum is set. Davenport able to hold and bring the ball out. Look for the big runner in the middle. Able to gain a few and stay on her feet. Real good job keeping the legs moving after contact. Get the ball within the 24. Getting close to that 22-meter line is Davenport. Now the ball out to the left side of the screen. Little pop through. That's a dangerous ball through. Sees something there. That's going to be a penalty. That could result in a penalty try. We'll see what happens there. And referee says tackling the person without the ball, it does not result in a penalty try. And so Steen makes a fairly smart decision there and tries to get after it. Davenport decides to call the shot and try to go for the points, which would get them on the board. Team makes its way to the field, and looks like we've got a little conversation between the referee and the captain. Go ahead and pause the time there. And now things are back underway. This will be the 15 lining up for the kick. Once again, as we mentioned at the early part of the broadcast, unfortunately, we don't have the roster names for the team in white. So apologies for those at home who might be watching and rooting on the squad from Davenport. That ball is up and it's pushed a little wide of the posts, and that's unfortunate, but the ball is live and now it comes back out. So the ball finds touch and it'll be a line out to Davenport. Davenport readies. They show that front jumper. It's up and through. Referee says we're okay, and now the ball comes out. It's unfortunately mishandled, and an attempt results in a knock on, and so West Point will get the ball back. So once again, the scrum down. This time it'll go to West Point, Army, with about 23 and a half gone in this first period, this first half. DeLeon puts the ball in. Ollis decides to pick. Now finds DeLeon, who looks to swing it. It bounces. A little bit choppy. Eisenhart able to pick it up, hand it off to McCune. A little bit of an awkward tackle, but McCune able to set it back. And now the ball comes out. Morales finds the foot, and it is going to find grass and then bounce out. So real successful clearance there by Yesenia Morales, who's able to find the green space and get the territory back, calm things down. So a little pressure relief there. There's a couple of awkward transitions, and now It will be a Davenport throw-in. See on the screen, Morales get that nice boot and have it drop about as close as you can get. Now the throw from Davenport. They go to that first jumper. Nice job getting way up there. Now the ball is out. Again, a little bit of a miscue there in the pass. Finds the two centers from Army and is driven back. So Army doing a nice job of trying to work that defensive pressure, but this time there's a gap and the Davenport player finds some space. Army resets. Davenport looking for something. Big contact by Stockbauer. Drives the runner back with some assistance. Could have been Winker helping out. Now, up again. Little slice through. But there's Carney able to make the tackle. Now the ball is loose and it's out. Comes out to the side. Davis on the wrap-up. Once again, bringing it out. Stockbauer hits hard, but this runner's able to churn on and gain a few more. Once again, out to the right side. Looks like Eisenhart on the tackle. Davenport trying to find that gap. Not finding a lot of space to work with. There are some numbers to the far side of the screen, but not before Army is able to get hands on the ball and get the penalty. Could not see who got it. Could have been DeLeon, who now brings the ball out to Carney. Little show and go. Inside the 22. Now out to Ollis. Ollis looks to bounce through one. Finds Carreno, but a little bit of a mishandle. That looks like it's going to be a knock-on. And it will be a scrum down to Davenport. First knock-on on Army, second knock-on on Davenport. So the scrum forms. Davenport certainly in a threatening position here. They're in a difficult spot on the field. Threatened position, I guess I should say. Army will try to put some pressure on. We'll see if they really try to get into the space of the defense or if Davenport able just to clear the kick out. Now the ball out, and here's the relief kick. It finds touch easily, and so Army will get the line out about, let's call it, 15 meters away. Looks like the time is off, so we'll go ahead and pause things there. And the line out forms. Time is back, and now Ollis will do the throwing. Up goes, could have been Ringdahl. Didn't quite see it, but the ball is formed. Again, Davenport looking for it. Now Army brings it out. DeLeon finds Eisenhart to Winker. Winker looks, goes through the first, regathers and drives on within a few meters. DeLeon out again, this time Eisenhart. Out to Morales, who's going to get her second of the night and put 5 more on the board for Army, bringing the score to 29. Yesenia Morales finds the seam and is able to dot it down. So great work by the Army backs, really looking for that space and finding the mismatch they're looking for. It's been a nice transition so far. The pack working the maul, trying to find something. Davenport really stiffening and then bringing the ball out quickly. Eisenhart will line up for the kick just at about the 15-meter. And so, based on the last one from this area, if you can get it straight, we would think this one might be all right. Kick is up. And that one is through. Hard to make it out at first, but she's able to keep that ball through and true, bringing the score to 31 with about 28 gone, 29 gone. So once again, Davenport gets the ball started. The 15 finds some space. It's picked up by Morales, and who just churns through 3-4 tacklers and keeps the ball alive. And referee says not before Davenport gets their hands on. So great job there to get their hands on it and get the not releasing penalty. Looks to me like we'll have time off. Got a player who a little slow to get up and is going to get a visit from the trainer to make sure things are okay. Now the kick to touch. Finds touch, and Davenport will get back to work at around the 22. Now the time is off, and the trainer will make way to the field, and things look to be okay. Good to see. Looks like the hooker back on her feet. And Army gets set to defend. Davenport gets set to attack right at the 22-meter line. Referee says time is back on and calls the line out in. Good time to shout out our team tonight. Tonight on the live stream, on the broadcast, we've got Nelson Gallarz on the camera, Aiden O'Brien on the camera, Steph Aliprandi handling replay, and Brian Ahern on the switchboard. Davenport brings the ball out. Now they find some space. Morales with a big contact. Still a couple meters beyond that 22. Now the ball swings real wide. It's bounced, and now the pressure comes up. That was Campbell on the tackle. And then Gabby Winker is able to jar the ball loose. We're playing a knock-on advantage. DeLeon looks, finds Carney, who flips it to Stockbauer, who gains a couple. It's taken to the deck. Now the ball out to Eisenhart, to Winker. Shoulders forward and able to gain a few. Good job by Davenport to get hands on, but lost it. And now DeLeon able to bring it out. Ellie Carney, the senior. Carreno with the latch, drives on, now takes the ball. Good meters there by that pair. DeLeon quick to step. Looks to bring it out, little flick pass. Bobbled, but handled by McCune. Now it's out. This is Johnson just looking for space. Finds a little. Legs are churning on and gets us inside the 40-meter. Out to Eisenhart, who brings it to Winker. Another good tackle. Davenport very quick on the ball. Now to Morales. The two-time try scorer says, maybe I go for one more. Looks in the foot race and is going to find the try zone and get in toward the center. Yesenia Morales is having a day. 3 tries on the day, able to center it. And that is a dangerous runner with ball in hand, showing the rest of the team exactly why you do not want to give this runner space. Congratulations to Morales, who has done a lot of the distributing, to be fair, over the last couple of games, has had several of kind of the key passes that set up tries, and tonight she's in that spot where she's getting to run a little bit, and it's paying off. Eisenhart lines up for the kick. Strike is up, and it's true. So that's going to bring us to 38 with about 7 minutes left in this first half. And so now joining me in the booth is my colleague here, partner on the night, Brian Ahern. Brian, welcome.
Thank you, Mike. It's good to be here.
Glad to have you. So far, Army looking pretty solid and stiff. Davenport doing a real nice job to put pressure defensively, but it just looks like Army's got too many weapons out there.
It does, and from what we hear from the Davenport campus, they're actually short quite a lot of players. They came with a fairly light squad as well. So
here goes Alice looking, finds Carreno, who now gets it out to Stockbauer. Great ball movement. Tackle looked a little high, but was on the ball, so referee Cicciarella says we're fine. DeLeon finds Eisenhart. A little flick pass to Winker. Unfortunately, not able to handle. That knock-on is going to stop the game. So good ball transfer there by Army, and they're looking to make things happen.
Definitely had their opportunities with quick hands in many phases of the game so far. So I'd expect to see Army just keep moving that ball and just finding those little gaps.
So with about 5.5 to play, it'll be a Davenport scrum. And they are showing heavy to the far end of the screen, backs out to the right, and sort of a semi-stack position in the centers. Looks like we've got a first receiver. Now Army drives. It's picked by the 8 and brought out, handled by the 10, who brings it out to the centers. Big contact by the Army centers. Davenport able to recycle, get it out. Now a little stepping back into pressure. Sheds one. But Alice is able to hold on and drive it back. Now Army resets. Now the ball out. Little bit of a floater, and so that brings the Davenport runner back into the center. Now it's out to the right side of the screen. Some pressure. Good job by the tackle. That was Ringdahl. Referee says you did not roll. You weren't out of the space quick enough, and so Davenport will get the penalty. Army heads back 10, and it looks like Davenport will look to find touch.
Davenport just trying to work their way out of their own half. Army keeping that pressure on.
Ball does find touch, not before McCune tried to make an effort to keep it in. But now we'll see the line out. You know, Brian, one of the things that I've sort of thought has been effective for Davenport, and I wonder if they'll do more of it, is those little chip kicks. They're finding some space. They're finding that gap and putting the ball through. And 15, again, wish we had her name, but the 15 has done a nice job of finding some space.
She has, and it's definitely something that she has those little spots because Army is coming up with that high pressure defense. So there is space at the back just beyond the 15.
Oh, nice job there. And there it is. There's the chip kick. So it's a good read. Davis was through the space, now does the cleanup work. So Alyssa Davis, the winger from Army, came through hard and was ready to make the pick. Davenport saw that and ran through the space. So good job by them reading it. Now the ball comes out the back. And here comes the pressure. Johnson leads us up with Carreno. And Alice in on the contact. Again, Alice Carreno, the double. Scrum half looks down the field, brings it out. This time the doubles with Carney and Winker. Now out to the right side of the screen. A little bit of a mishandle. And that's going to be no advantage gained, and so Army will get the scrum down.
Yeah, unfortunately the 10 saw heard the footsteps coming there and just took her eyes off the ball.
There is no shame in that when there is that kind of pressure. And I think that's something that, you know, really, if we're being objective, Army has really worked hard on this year, is to create that defensive pressure and try to use their fitness as an advantage by constantly coming up. And it's paid off so far.
Oh yeah, you saw the same last week against Sacred Heart. You know, it was high pressure, keep that opponent moving backwards if you can, and just having them reset. It's definitely a tiring way to play if you're an offense having to keep resetting.
So good job by the Davenport scrum to get the penalty here. It looks like Army lost their binds before the ball was out. This ball is not going to find touch. Then it does. And so Davis does a good job to keep it out. Referee says it was knocked on when she hit it and then found touch. So the penalty does not result initially in a line out, but they have the choice. And so it looks like,
unfortunately, she just tapped it forward when she was trying to keep it in bounds. It was a good effort.
So Davenport will have the scrum 5 meters off the sideline. And now Army will get back to work. One thing I'll say is I've been impressed with Davenport's scrummaging. They are nice and low, and they're really getting a good push. We'll see if they try to get some movement here again.
It's definitely been solid. You can see the strain they're putting on Army scrum.
Number 9 picks, now finds the 10, looking to find space. Winker on the tackle in the centers. Now the ball comes out. Davenport looking to shift and get some numbers out to that side. A massive hit by Morales. who takes the player for a ride of about 5 meters. Now a little step. Ball is thrown forward by Army, and it will result in an advantage to Davenport. Again, they attack that A channel. Number 9 really working hard to find some meters, get things moving in the direction they want it to. Now the pick and go inside the 22 is met by Alice. Again, pick and drive. Not finding a whole lot of meters. Lots of Army bodies there ready to make the contact. Now the ball comes out, and there we have a battle between the centers and the 7 of Davenport. So again, once again, Army showing the double tackle and the pressure constantly. Campbell looked to get hands on, wasn't able to hold on and had to bail. Now the ball comes out. 10 looks. Army is once again ready, and now big pressure by Winker. Now the ball comes out. It's a little bit of a choppy pass, and this has been the story we've seen, is that Army's pressure seems to disrupt things, and now they've pushed Davenport back near the 40 meter, and now it comes out.
Some of those passes from Davenport are a little bit like a fire drill. They're just trying to get it away and get it out, find some space.
This one's a choppy pass, goes backward. Winker there, and Ringdahl able to do the cleanup work. Now the ball comes out. Carreno and Campbell able to bring the player down. Good work there. Once again, the pressure comes. Little kick through possibly. Davis unable to get the handle on. And this may be the half. Referee calls last play. We're showing 40-30 on the scores, or on the clock, and so we hear last play be called by the field. So with a score line of 38-0, Davenport will have the put in, and Army will defend. They've got about 55 meters to travel. Referee says, we didn't get the right binds, and the Davenport hooker popped out the top, so we're going to reset things and start it again.
Mike, I have to congratulate you on your walk before the game here tonight. A little stroll on the field for senior night.
Absolute honor. Again, for those at home who didn't catch it, because we didn't tell you with our mute button on, tonight was senior night, and all of the seniors and their parents were able to get some recognition for a job well done, and certainly an honor for us. DeLeon able to steal, brings it out through Alice, Stockbauer to Carreno. Last play continues, and now Army on the attack. Looks to find Eisenhart, who swings it out. This is Winker, still looking for another set of hands. Her sister, Gabby Winker, who blasts through and might make it count. It's going to be tough. A great tackle in space. Now the quick pick by McCune is met with good contact. The ball looked like it could have been stripped. And DeLeon looks to bring it. Eisenhart out to Carney. Shows and then finds Carreno. Carreno looking, gets within 5 meters. Davis hands on the ball. Has already scored one and will score another to get 5 more on the board. Alyssa Davis, the first D winger, is able to get another down and bring the score to 43 on the last play of the half. And so Eisenhart will have one final shot before the whistle sounds. And a really impressive first half here by the Army Black Knights. See on the screen there the work by Gabby Winker, who's able to just really bring that thing in.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal run, just straight up the middle.
Eisenhart lines up.
Lovely play by Davis just to stay wide.
Kick is up. And it just glazes the front, not able to get that first one through. That was real close, but that does signal the first half, and where we stop at 43-0. So real good job by the firsty crew from Army to come out and get some points, get the attack the way they wanted it, and I think they're going to be pretty happy with the start.
Absolutely, and you've got Eisenhardt adding to her amazing 300 plus points at college level, which is pretty spectacular.
Well, certainly something that I know she's proud of, and also something that is without a doubt a team effort, and something that she, if she was standing here, I'm sure she would say you don't get those shots if you don't have somebody doing the work to put the ball down. So hat tip to the squad over many years. It's been a real good thing. So we're going to go ahead and put the mics down for a minute as we enjoy some halftime, and we'll be back in just a few. Welcome back, sports fans. Welcome back, rugby fans. Welcome back, Army rugby fans. My name is Mike Eisenhart, and I'm joined again tonight in the booth with Brian Ahern. Brian, it's good to be with you.
Great to be here.
We are back for the second half of this NIRA matchup. Army in the black, Davenport in the white. And at this point tonight, so far, it's been all Army with a 43-0 scoreline.
Yeah, Davenport really traveling with a light squad. According to them, they have a lot of injuries, so they're not quitting though. They're hanging in there.
Which you got to love to see in a classy program with which you would exactly what you'd expect. They are a strong program perennially, year in, year out. They put out great rugby and exactly what we'd want to see. So they will have the ball, and they will get us started again, and we'll go ahead and get that clock teed up. And referee Chicharello gets us going. Chicharello, excuse me. Now the ball is up. That is going to be close to 10. It did not travel 10, so it didn't quite make 10 meters. And for those at home who might be joining us for the first time, rugby has a lot of laws, and that's one of them. The ball on a restart must travel 10 meters, and if it doesn't, the receiving team gets a choice. They can ask for a re-kick, which almost never happens at this level and or above, and they can also take a scrum, which they decide to do. So right off the bat, it does not look like we've got any major changes on the Army side as far as the numbers. I do see Zoe Weimer, the 21, has entered the game and looks like the 3-try scorer Yesenia Morales has gotten the rest of the night off. Can't blame Coach Solomon for that one. She's had a heck of a night and probably deserves the rest. So
3 tries is enough.
Yeah, that's a good start to the night. Good shift, as they say. And Zoe Weimer makes her game debut and will be out in that center channel. Now DeLeon puts the ball in, and Army shows a stack position with Eisenhart coming to the right. And there's Alice. Unfortunately, that one's a bit mishandled. Looks like a knock-on between the 8 and the 9. And so we will scrum again, but this time to Davenport.
Just a little bit of jittery hands there.
So now Army will defend, and Davenport will look to strike. Not quite at the center of the field, but right again at the 50. Davenport shows a bit more traditional back line there, sort of that wing-shaped back, and Army looks to get ready to put some pressure on.
And as we've seen in the first half, that 15 Lepe likes to kick. I'm not sure if it's Lepe or Lepi, but definitely likes to put the ball in the air.
Now the ball comes out. It's mishandled, but goes backward, which makes it okay. And now the ball is kicked. Steen is in good position to make the field, but the ball bounces oddly, as rugby balls do, and she cleans it up for Davis to clean out and get over. Now DeLeon brings it out. This is Johnson. Again, real good work by Davenport over the ball, but not able to keep hands on. Now the ball comes out. Carney looks, decides to straighten it up and take it herself. DeLeon out to Winker. Unfortunate knock on there by Davenport, so we'll play the advantage. Now Army will go backward, but have to get back to work. Eisenhart puts it to the foot, looks to find some space and does. First bounce is then fielded. And that is the 15 who takes the ball back in for Davenport. Now they'll look to recycle.
Pick off the back of the scrum.
A few meters there in that A channel. And Davenport has the arm out. So they'll play some penalty advantage here. And we'll see what they can muster. Now the ball is out. Comes through the hands. Winker there to make the first contact with Carreno. Good drive on by Davenport. This time, Winker is able to get the hands, but referee says we were playing the first penalty advantage, and Army will get back 10.
The Army defense is really smothering the attack of Davenport you know, you'd really either like to see them get a little steeper or just be running onto the ball a little bit more.
Davenport elects the scrum, and they are about 40 meters away. And we'll look to get things a little more settled. This first 4 minutes has been a little choppy on both sides. We've seen some knock-ons. We've seen some stoppages. So both teams are going to try to get back to work.
It's perfect conditions here. Is zero wind whatsoever. It's
Ball
nice,
comes out.
cooler.
It's available. De Leon with some good pressure. Referee says it was knocked but thrown backwards, so we're okay to continue. There's the pick. Once again, Davenport trying to latch and drive and gain a few more, but met by big contact there by Kate Winker. Once again, driving the pile back is Alice and Carney. And there's the pick by Lepe, who was able to keep driving on and gain a few, get it back into their attacking half. Once again, here's the pick and drive. So certainly what we're seeing Davenport do is some attempts at ball control and then trying to get the ball out after driving a few in. Big hit by Alice, who's able to drive the ball backward. Eisenhart able to get onto it and get the ball for Army. So real good job by the two captains. And Alice takes the ball back and tries to make something happen. Finds Gabby Winker, who steps to the inside and now looks, tried to find Weimer. It bounces on the ground, and it's going to be called back. Unfortunately, referee says that one traveled forward in the pass. Alyssa Davis saw the opportunity for her third try and was not able to make it happen. And so Army begins to go to the bench. It looks like senior Ellie Carney will come off, and scrum half Chloe DeLeon will come off. Molly Kennedy will enter the game. And we'll see if that is, yep, that looks like Z Aganlola, who's also entered the game in the lock position. So an unfortunate series there. Ball was moving nicely and was just thrown forward.
Yeah,
unable to get that
nice
last
breakaway
bit.
by Alice.
After putting a crunching hit.
Yeah.
Davenport able to find it. Now the kick. That one's not going to find touch. It's Davis who comes up and makes a great take with pace and is just slicing through. Takes the ball back in with about 10 meters. Kennedy brings it out and finds Aganlola. Big, strong runners able to get a few. Davenport does a nice job to get hands on, but the clean out is successful. Now, out through Carreno, Army comes. They've got numbers to the right, and it would look like they're going to try to make it happen. Stockbauer comes through. Kennedy trying to dig it out. Davenport comes across. Referee says just get out of the space and we'll continue. Aganlola drives, carries a couple with her. Now it's stolen, and we've got our first break of the night. McCune is on the race and is able to tie up the player. Good support line, but not before Steen able to take it. So Davenport able to make the steal, gain a bunch of meters back. That looks to be Higgins, the 8, and now Army's able to pick it up through Weimer. So some real sort of choppy, sloppy ball, but Army able to kind of keep the composure. Big battle there at the contact area. Once again, that could have been Higgins who's involved. Now the ball out. Ringdahl gets things rolling. Now Kennedy brings it out through Winker, and Aganlola slices through one. Carreno there to seal it. Now the ball out again. Unfortunately, mishandled, and that will stop the progression. So good defensive work, I thought, there by Grace McCune to get back. The breakaway was on, and we had Higgins really slicing down the field.
Yeah.
Just showed some real good pace to get there and tie her up.
Higgins really made a nice play on the 5-meter line, and she was off to the races up to the halfway line, and a really nice play by McCune to come back and take care of business.
Now the ball is in. And it's Higgins who picks. Looks to get by Davis. Not going to happen. And there's Campbell at the base. Now the ball comes out. Thought about it. Caught in the channel. That one looked to be knocked on, but not before Johnson gets it and is going to play the advantage and just drag players with her. Kennedy looks. Now brings it out through Winker. Brings it to her sister. Good step to the inside, but a really nice open field tackle there. Once again, that looked to be the 8 Higgins. Now out to Kate Winker, who finds McCune, who has a little space. She's going to have to work. There's a lot of white jerseys in pursuit, but it looks like Grace McCune is going to make it happen and get 5 more on the board for Army. Congratulations to senior firstie Grace McCune, who opens up the scoring here in the second half on an absolute slicing run.
That was a well-deserved try by McCune. She made that defensive play just a couple of minutes ago and then took a ball just inside the Davenport half, and she had to cut through 2 or 3 good chases to get it down. She got it right beside the post.
Really solid work by McCune, who gets off to the races. And now Eisenhart will line up for a kick. Try to add the extras. Kick is up, and that one looked to be through. Flags are up, and we'll add 2 more to the scoreline. So yeah, that's impressive work and good vision by McCune, the winger, I thought. I mean, she could feel the pressure coming in, and Davenport did a really nice job to try to close down that gap and cut down the space, and she just sort of weaved through and found that seam.
Yeah, she came back inside. She had to get inside, the centers as well, and just managed to get underneath that defense, and then she was just able to burst through. It was a really nice run by McCune.
So Davenport gets the ball started again through Lepe, who finds Agunlola, gains a couple, gets us close to the 40-meter, and Kennedy looks to bring it back out. A little bit of a miscue there, but it's picked up by Kate Winker, who gets through with Stockbrower there to clean it up. Finds Eisenhart. Now it's out to Johnson. Now again, Eisenhart looks to put one over. There's a good chase on through Steen, who's bringing up some pressure quickly. Now the ball through. Great job by Army to field. Did not quite make it out who that is. That could be Stockbauer, who gets the try down.
Lovely ball by Eisenhart over the top. Great chase.
I don't know if we gave the credit to the wrong player. I'm not exactly sure who that was. We'll try to get a number for you, but a real good kick chase as we have a few players enter the game. Looks to me like Emily Vizcarra has joined in the 22 jersey as Grace McCune, the firstie, makes her way to the sideline. We're going to try to get that number for you on who was in position to make that chase, but whoever it was, I mean, that was quality work to get down there and get that try scored.
Yeah, that was really nice idea, chipping over the top. Defense was up.
Great Kicks up by Eisenhart, comes across the front of the posts, and not able to get that one. So score remains 55 with 52 gone. Looks like Ahmoud has entered the game for Army, as well as Vizcarra, who we mentioned. So Coach Solomon is starting to bring the subs on, as you might expect.
Davenport starting to look a little bit tired. Starting to see some holes opening up. Those longer runs.
Now, let's see what we've got. Referee says ball was not 10 meters. Looked to me like Davenport was trying to make the case that, well, Army played it, so should be live, but referee says it did not travel 10 before Davenport played it. So that means it's going to be a dead ball, and Army will get the scrum at the center. So we've got Eisenhart and Gabby Winker in the centers with Vizcarra stacked behind. Zoe Weimer out to the right side of the screen. Emily Steen on the far right. Alyssa Davis still here in the narrow part of the screen near us. Kennedy, wearing the 23, puts the ball in. And Army looks to lock out. Good drive by Davenport. Now the 8-9 connection. Big hit by the opposing 9. Great work there. Now it's Alice who brings the ball out to Vizcara, who finds a little seam, and then through Weimer out to Steen. Now, could have been Zoe Weimer who got that try scored, and I'm going to go ahead and give the credit there. Hopefully I'm getting it right, but I'm thinking that's who it was. Now Stockbauer. It's sealed. Now it's out to Eisenhart, who looks to find Ringdahl. The first one went backward, but the second one was knocked forward, and so it will be a scrum down to Davenport. So again, and I think deserving of the hat tip is Davenport's scrum. They've done a nice job all night, really getting their bodies low and driving on, and you can see they're getting some good push.
You can see they're definitely a well-coached pack. Kennedy directing traffic.
Ball is in. This time Army gets the drive on, and now the ball goes to the far side of the screen. Pass looks to be mishandled. The arm is out, suggesting knock on, but it's Weimer looking to clean things up. Still playing the advantage for the knock on. Now the ball comes out. Alice decides to show some footwork and gains a few. That could be the end of the advantage. Now the ball out through Eisenhart. A little bit of a rough pass, and it is picked up by Davenport. They look to get back to work, and that was a penalty. So it looks to be a not rolling penalty, and it looked like it could have been Rimple who got her hands on the ball. So some decisions for Davenport. They have elected the scrum. It's a tough spot on the field because you're pretty far from the touchline. So if you want to go for that line out, you've really got to get after it.
Yeah, you're not really gaining much advantage if you're just, going to kick it a little bit into the half. So better to take the scrum, and you can just get something going with your back line.
And it's been working out well for him.
Ball's
now
out.
The ball comes out the back. Lepe looks, puts it on her foot. And now we've got a little bit of a soccer match going. Kennedy there, working to hold up the defender.
Looks like Higgins with the ball.
And now the ball comes through. This is the prop. Number 3, carrying some Army players, now hands the ball off. Back out to the left side of the screen. Davenport looking threatening inside the 22. Ball out to the left, still looking for that numbers. They've had one final one, but Vizcara there to make the tackle and slow the game back down. Now the pick and go. Army near the edge, looking to find that touch line. Now the ball out. Davenport looking. That pass, unfortunately at the feet, but able to pull it in. Now they'll get back to work. Big counter ruck there. The ball is tipped through, but not before a referee says, yep, you came through, and that's a penalty.
That was a nice run by Foot on that previous phase.
So Davenport looks to kick to the corner and possibly set out the line out. Finds touch. And let's call that 10 meters out, maybe 12. And they'll get to work in the line out. So the line out forms. Referee says in or out. So Mood joins the line out. And now things get back to work.
McGrath with the put in.
Ball is up. Finds the first jumper nicely. and look to go into that weak side channel. Army there in numbers, not able to get it into touch. Now the ball comes back out. Few good meters, and they're within 5 meters. This is definitely the most threatening they've been, but it's Aganlola who gets hands on ball and steals it. And now Army will attempt to get back to work. So a huge pressure relief here. Z Aganlola, they get the ball out to Eisenhart, who puts it up in the lights, and that one could be knocked on, and that's going to be a scrum. So a huge pressure relief for Army after a really good series by Davenport.
Yeah, Davenport were knocking on the door there. They probably thought they had their first really good opportunity of the second half and taken away by Army.
We see a couple more finishers make their way to the field. Alyssa Davis, Carla Carreno, and Alyssa Eisenhart make their way to the sideline. And we'll see if we can get some numbers. Looks like Gwen Gilchrist has made it onto the field. Abby Thornton, and possibly Stevie Ray Ricklick. So Davenport gets back to work. That one looks to have come out of the channel, and so we'll do it again.
Ricci and Kennedy having a little bit of a laugh about that one.
So they reset the scrum. And now Kennedy feeds the ball, and it's in. Looks to be wheeling a little, and that time it collapsed. Referee says that's a penalty. And Davenport takes the small victory on some strong scrummaging work.
Definitely some pride in their scrummaging there. Much better opportunity for a nice positional kick to touch. That's Lepe.
And does so. Brings the ball to about 23, 24 meter, and they'll get back to work. So Davenport will line up for the line out with 61 and a half gone on the field clock. We'll see what they've got in store. In goes that first jumper. They do a nice job, but this time Army gets a hand on it and is able to steal it. Did not see who got it, but now the ball comes out. There's a little flick. That could have been Ricklick, who gains a few. Referee says, but not before Davenport able to get the hands on. So it's a theme that they've really been working hard on all night, is getting that, quick, getting over quick the ball and trying to poach, and this time it works out. They elect the scrum. I felt good about it, and so Army's 8 make their way in.
That looked to be Higgins getting her hands in. Higgins are really having a nice game at 8, man.
So Army sets up to defend. It's Vizcarra who goes on to the weak side. Kennedy sees that the ball is out and goes to make some things happen. Not before the first break is there, and that could have been Alice who's able to make the tackle. Back to work is Davenport at the base, gains maybe 1. Now they drive on, but Army's defense has really been very firm. The flat ball through looked to be very promising, but a good double tackle there by Kate Winker, and could have been Kennedy. Once again, here's the pressure at the base. That one looked to have jarred loose. Referee says it went backwards, so we're still okay. Davenport retains the ball. Now out to the left side of the screen. Looking for that mismatch. It's Aganlola who shoots up and makes the initial contact. Still fighting to get inside the 22 is Davenport. Now out to Higgins on the right side of the screen. Bringing it out into space, looks to be mishandled, and unfortunately that's going to result in a knock-on advantage. It's Thornton with the ball in hand. Tries to make the pass, but that one is thrown forward, so it'll come back for the advantage with no advantage gained. So the first knock on Davenport will bring the ball back to just outside the 22 for Army, and they'll have to make some decisions about how to get out of this spot.
Yeah, Higgins again with a nice little skip pass there. Just unfortunately for Davenport, knocked on.
Two more Army players make their way to the sideline. That's Kate Winker, the firstie, and Natalia Johnson, who have both put in really solid shifts all day. So Army very near clearing the bench if they haven't. And the finishers are here, ready to finish out. So as we say in rugby, the finishers are here to make some things happen, add a bit of energy, inject some energy, and maybe a different pace of the game.
Yeah, a bit of electricity.
Kennedy looks, finds Gilchrist, who now brings it out to Winker. Winker looks to slip through, gets through the first. Real good work there by Weimer to clean it out. Now it's Alice showing some footwork and drive, gaining it, bringing it back to around the 40. Referee says, you made
Double
a second movement. And so, again, was held in the tackle and then tried to jump forward. And so that's a second movement. You get one. You can't have a second. Davenport elects to scrum. And it looks to be that Reagan King in the 25 jersey is on to hook. So Army now showing a maybe not completely new front row. Ricklick and King are in, but I think Stockbauer may still be there in the tight head position. And Alice remains at 8. Davenport puts it in. Army looks to get the drive on. It's bobbled in the back, and Kennedy is there to clean things up. Ahmoud comes in and challenges the ruck nicely. Now the ball out to the left side of the screen. Good step there. That could have been Higgins again. And now the ball comes out. Little chip over the top. Steen is well positioned and fields it nicely. Sends it back, shows the left foot, and now some pressure on. A little bit of a miscue. The ball travels forward, but not before Kennedy with a heads-up move. Thornton on the chase. And referee's going to stop it for the knock-on the kick. So really nice job by Steen to see that, pick it out of the air and send it back. Unfortunately, a little miscue between the fullback and the retreating player for Davenport, and that caused a knock-on.
Good level of energy there by Kennedy since she came on. You know, that's what you want from your finishers, especially in the scrum half position. You want to have that extra energy.
She's done some defensive work. I've been impressed with that. You know, the ball's coming out of the back of the Davenport scrum pretty firmly. And Kennedy there really trying to disrupt things.
And, you know, we had the advantage of seeing her pretty much through her high school career, and she was that kind of a scrum half you'd hate playing against because she was always around the ball, always, you know, not letting you get away with any free plays.
That's right. Now it's hooked. Kennedy brings it out. Winker looking, involved in the double tackle. Quick hands over the ball, but the ruck comes in. Now to Alice, to Gilchrist, who finds a mood. Driving on, gains a few. Now it's out again. Alice takes it, gives it to King. King is lifted. That is problematic, says the referee. And that is a tip tackle. Referee will say, we're going to stop the clock on that one. This could result in a card. And referee going to have a conversation. Unfortunately, and again, for those at home who may not know the rules here, unfortunately what happens in that situation is if you take a person off the ground, it is your responsibility to bring them down safely. And in this tackle, unfortunately, the player was lifted off feet and dumped. Referee elects to let the Davenport team get together, talk it through, and gives a warning, but no card is shown. So it'll be a penalty, but not a card.
Yeah, I think that's maybe not the best call. You know, the legs were well above the horizon.
Clock restarts, and Kennedy is going to try to find touch. Does so without any trouble, and Army will get the line out. Yeah, that's a tricky one, right? I mean, on the one hand, I don't think there was any malice. It looked like certainly out of position, but didn't look to be driving the player into the ground, which is always a key indicator. And
maybe that's the mitigating factor there, that there wasn't any, pile driving.
Yeah. Clean line out, and the maul is on. Kennedy looks, pulls it out. Gilchrist looks, now gives to Winker, who tries to get through. Weimer cleans it. Vizcara out to Thornton. Good position by the Davenport player. They're able to disrupt that pass and get the ball. Got a player down, but the ball is away, and so the game continues. The kick is up, and that one finds touch. So now we will pause the clock and let the trainer come out and have a conversation with the Davenport player.
So we're knocking on the door again there, and very opportune. Davenport back, just able to get in between the two Army players.
Yeah, it's a good job. I mean, defensively, that's what you're hoping for, right? Is get into a space where, there's no offsides, it's open play.
Right.
If you can't make the tackle, at least disrupt the play, and that time it worked out.
It looked to be number 6, Wilkie, was able to just tap it backwards to her own team.
So with nearly 70 gone, the scoreline is 55-0 in favor of Army, who has just been pressuring and attacking all night. Davenport has looked threatening. Unfortunately, in many circumstances, they seem to be about one pass away. They just that final pass seems to get a little choppy or bobbled, and that's worked against them.
Yeah, it's almost been opportune breakdowns for them. Just as soon as they seem to be just trying to punch it through, they either knock it on or Army comes up with a big play.
Clock restarts, and now the line out. Referee adjusting the mark. And now the line out. So Army will get the throw because it was a kick directly into touch from behind the 22. A little confusion there, but now it's set. It's King who throws. Once again, Army shows the maul. It's driven back, so Davenport up to the challenge. Now Army's going to have to make a decision. The referee says, yeah, it did not go forward. So if you show the maul and it does not move forward or it stops, it goes to the opponent. So good job by Davenport to stall the maul.
Yeah, it's where you really, if the maul isn't gathering any momentum at all, you really need to get that ball back and get it out.
So another scrum. This time it'll be Davenport with the put in.
But again, Davenport showing how good they are in that forward pack, because they've kind of controlled the maul all night, or at least been able to defend it very well.
Ball comes out about the 22. It's Weimer on the tackle with an assist from Kennedy. Now the box kick over the top. Good height to contest, but maybe not as much depth as she had hoped, and Aginlola is able to pull it in.
Aginlola has made a really good impact since she's come on.
Out to King. Now Kennedy brings it back. Finds Stockbrower, who's played all 70 and just continues to churn. Great to see from the prop. Now the ball out. Ringdahl, big hit. And the ball is stolen. So once again, Davenport shows exactly how fast they can get over that ball. Now the ball comes out. It's Weimer on pressure. And Mahmoud looks to bring and complete the tackle. Does so. And now the box kick. That's probably more the space she was looking to hit, but Kennedy is right there and fields it cleanly. Sends it back herself. And it's Ricklick who puts the team on sides, but referee says, nah, you were in front of the kicker before you did so. And so that's a penalty. So again, for those at home, a little clarification who may not know the rules. In rugby, you can pass backward and you can kick forward. But if you kick forward, someone who is at least at the line of the kicker or behind the kicker must pass you if you are ahead of the kicker. So you have to be put on sides, and that's done so by the kicker or someone behind the kicker passing you on the field. In that case, looked to me like the referee did not think Stevie Ray Ricklick was behind the kicker and led the charge down the field to chase the kick, which means she was in an offside position. So the scrum will go to Davenport as the clock continues to tick. We've got 72 on our clock, and the field clock shows 74, so that's about what we think is left. 6 minutes or so. Army steals the ball, and now it comes out through the hands of Weimer, who looks for Thornton, gains a few, brings it inside the 22, and Weimer cleans it up. A mood there to seal. Kennedy right in position, and now the ball comes out through Gilchrist. It's Alice driving. There's the tackle. Is able to get back on her feet. The tackle not held. Cecilia Alice now looks for Reagan King. King is going to have to get her shoulders down. There's white jerseys there. Drives on very close to the line. Not quite in, but now the work is to be done. Alice says, I am going to do this. That is a big high tackle, but not before Cecilia Alice is able to dot it down and get 5 more. So the tackle on the neck, unfortunately, not able to keep Alice out. Referee says that is a try, and it looks like Vizcarra is going to line up and take a shot at the sticks. So really good work by the co-captain, Cecilia Alice, to know that she wasn't held there, regather, pick up, and drive on. And as a powerful runner doing what she does.
Definitely hard to stop her, especially if she gets any momentum under her at all. She's got really good footwork. Very, very strong.
It's Vizcarra who shows the hop. There's the strike. That looks pretty good. And gets to the cheers of the Army crowd. That is great work for Emily. Congratulations. Get on the board.
You have to wonder if that was an ode to Miss Eisenhart.
Could have been, as we call it, the Lisser dance. A little bit of a step, 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 hop, hop. So, little homage, maybe? Not sure.
Yeah, seems like it.
Whatever it was, it worked. So, congratulations to Emily. It's great to see her get 2 on the board. Referee says we got about 4 minutes to play. Davenport will restart us.
And if you're at practice every day and you're seeing how successful Alyssa Eisenhart is at kicking, you might pick up her little nuances as well. So the ball did not go 10, so we're going to have a scrum down in the middle.
So once again, Army will get the scrum down. And probably a good time to give a shout out to the Davenport squad. We mentioned this at the beginning of the broadcast, but again, that might have been the time when we were not being heard. And so Davenport came in with a light lineup. They've been really buckled by injuries, but yet they're here. And they showed up and they put in this game and they put in a shift against a tough opponent. And they've kept coming all night long. And at 77 minutes and change, to Coach Greg Tellickson and his crew, a lot of respect for the work that they're doing.
Absolutely.
It's Alice who picks and looks, now finds Kennedy, who's going to battle with Lepe, going to find the ground, does so there, and Army's going to look to dig it out. It's King who brings it out. A little bit of a choppy pass, and that one looks like it's going to bounce off of Zoe Weimer, and that's going to be a knock-on. Unfortunately, it looks like time is going to be off, and we're going to need a second to see. Looks like some, hopefully just wind knocked out, but trainers are going to go out and have a look.
The score doesn't really reflect how hard Davenport is fighting to stay in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, been very impressed. I mean, it's clearly a very physical game. A lot of double hits on both sides of the ball. Ball movement has been good. There's been, a lot of defending on their part, which is a tiring thing to do. And they keep coming.
Yeah.
That's quality work by them. So, looks like Zoe Weimer going to make her way to the sideline, hoping she's okay. Looks maybe a little ginger on the knee, but is moving, and that's good to see. So, hoping she's okay. And it looks like it will be Eisenhart who will re-enter the game as the injury replacement. Be interesting to see where. she go back at 10, or will she slide into that 12 slot with Gilchrist on? Gilchrist is often in the 10 position, and so wouldn't surprise me if we see her at 12. So Weimer makes her way to the sideline, to the cheers of her friends, colleagues, and crowd. And with a couple of minutes left, Army is getting ready back to work. Does look like Eisenhart slots in at 12. And they are in the defensive position. Now a switch, and so they switch. And it's Winker who slides into the defensive 12 position. Eisenhart at the 13. Now the ball is in. Clock is restarted. And it's Davenport back to work. Gilchrist on the tackle. A little bit of a fend there by Davenport. Well done. Now the ball comes out. Lots of numbers in black jerseys coming, and it's Agunlola who hits the first contact. But this player has really done a nice job keeping her feet. That is the tight head prop really doing some work. There's a big hit. That could have been Winker. There's that bobble, unfortunately. And there goes Eisenhart. Is able to dial it in. Lots of weight there. A little sidestep. Now looks to Thornton, who brings it to the width. Now Thornton cuts in. Can the plebe find the space? Few meters out, 7-8 meters out. It's Kennedy who's going to drive on. Continues inside 5 meters. Hands all over the ball. Referee says, get out of there. Could it have been stolen? It looks available. Now the pick and go. That's Ricklick. Still driving his Army, 3 meters out. Good defense by Davenport. Now the ball comes out to Winker, who slips through one and dots it down for 5 more. Gabby Winker brings the score to 67.
Really nice run there by Eisenhart.
The tee makes its way out. Apologies for cutting you off.
No, you're good.
One thing that I'm happy to see. This is something that, again, like a little moment. I'll take a little moment here. The kicking duties have officially been handed off, and I'm happy to see that. So it's going to be Kennedy getting her shot at the post. Vizcara had one, and now Kennedy's going to get a shot. So with 80 minutes gone and the clock continue to tick, at least on the scoreboard, we're showing 78 minutes. It's going to be Molly Kennedy lining up for the kick in front of the posts.
Now let's see if Molly Kennedy does the hop.
do we see the double hop? A much more controlled setup. Kennedy dials one in. There's the kick. And it is up, and Kennedy gets on the board, bringing the score to 69. That appears to be the game, and the Army squad makes its way to the sideline. It's been a good one. And for those at home, thanks for joining us. We're going to call it there. We're going to leave you for the rest of the evening. With 69 points on the board, it's Army over Davenport. Many thanks for joining us here on Night Vision. Thanks to our crew. Congratulations to the Firsties. We hope you have a great night. It's been a wonderful night here at Warrior Field. Brian, on behalf of the whole crew, thanks to you, Steph, Aiden, Nelson. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you again soon.